A Love Mental Illness/Love Sickness Guide. Chapter 1. A Love as a Mental Illness Guide. Stendal is the tragic romantic writer. Fantasy doesn't match reality. Love is a trifling thing, and yet, it is the only weapon that can wound a stout heart. Stendal. A very small degree of hope is sufficient to cause the birth of love. Stendal. Stendal in 1819 wrote on love, de l'amour, in which he identified 4 kinds of love. Mannerly love, physical love, vanity love, passionate love. Passionate love was considered the highest, all-encompassing, transcendent kind of love to Stendal, and he wrote his great treatise to it in an effort to get a certain young lady to fall in love with him. Stendal was in love with some woman who didn't love him back, so he spent his life writing about it. They even have a mental illness called Stendal Syndrome about somebody who hyperventilates when they see something they're in love with. His object of love was Madame Gherardi. Here are his steps to love. Admiration, one marvels at the qualities of the loved one. Acknowledgement, one acknowledges the pleasantness of having gained the loved one's interest. Hope, one envisions gaining the love of the loved one. Delight, one delights in overrating the beauty and merit of the person whose love one hopes to win. He built up this incredible relationship in his mind that never happened. Even though he lived a tragic life not getting this intense love he craved, his work gave millions of his readers insight and inspiration into the higher stages of romantic love. Romantic love has had a bad reputation in civilized society. The church and state have to repress it because it makes people free, emotional, and wild. All religions want people to marry, but they don't want lusty, passionate beings, so they have all kinds of monogamy dating rules. Even though a lot of our fairy tales portray a happily ever after scenario, much of our literature presents romantic love as a fatalistic kind of thing, that love makes people crazy and ends in tragedy like Romeo and Juliet, Anthony and Cleopatra, so it's a double-edged sword. Passionate love is a burning emotion, a strong feeling or a desire that is deep within your soul. The idea of passionate love gives people hope for the impossible, transcendent love affair. It gives them a chance to dream about it if they can't get it in real life. Love at the sales of romance novels. Virtually every woman and most guys, even if they won't admit it, dream of a great, passionate love affair that will take their lives from average to greatness. That's the problem when talking about anti-relationships. The fantasy love, you will never find the love in real life that you envision in your mind. The obsession with romantic love as a mental health issue. The search for love is good, but it's not worth destroying your life for, as many people do, trying to get someone to love them romantically. If you want unconditional love, love an animal or seek some kind of pure heavenly love from a supernatural force, as some people claim to get with prayer or near-death experiences when God talks to them. Love as in coupling seems to be a huge obsession in many people's lives, to find a soulmate, a lover, a spouse, a relationship, a good friend. This is way more important than this noble idea of self-actualization that humanist psychologists point to as the driving force of humanity, which I think is a crock, because most people are interested in feeling good right now, as in getting high, good food, entertainment, etc., rather than trying to do something urgently inspired, positive and good for humanity. So I say, stop shoveling the bullshit of self-actualization in your textbooks. The fear of loneliness and the search for a lover seems everywhere, not just in young people looking for love, but among people of all ages. They got websites like Our Time and Christian Mingle for older people. Where I live locally, I see lots of single older people around. Many are looking for friendship and love. Loneliness is a need for people to connect intimately with each other in a deep, profound soulmate or friendship way, as exemplified in many romance novels and TV shows. I've been in love enough times to know it always fades because of hormones, but then when you split up, some men and women kind of fall apart. They can't handle being alone, so they go after the next person that comes along, called the rebound. Every time I ever fell in love with a woman, my hormones went up and I was on a cloud-9 type of infatuation for a few months, but the hormones wore off and I realized I'm primal. I'm sexually attracted to every attractive female I see. It's nature. Nobody ever told me I would be like that as a normal guy. I had to figure it out on my own that men are not naturally monogamous. You can try to be a good husband by an act of will, but it's hard. I watch them Ex on the Beach, Bachelor in Paradise, Love Island kind of shows. They're all looking for that magical connection that they think will change their lives, but at heart, you're always still alone in your head. It's like a line in a 1990s love movie. The girl said, "We're alone together." That was a testament to all the superficial relationships out there. Loneliness is always there in almost every woman and many men, although they hide it more. Men are never supposed to admit they feel lonely. Married people often feel alone in loveless relationships. Many single people are looking for a true love. I watch those Real Housewives shows made up of older women, many single. Pretty well all of them are still looking for a man at their advanced ages. The field of psychology barely covers this need for romantic love as a big need or high motivator in life. Most people aren't looking for self-actualization, whatever that is. They are looking for love. I wrote a dating book over 10 years ago and I just fixed it up to put it in audio form on YouTube. Somebody said there are 70,000 dating websites out there. This is the real psychology of people, not this vague stuff called self-actualization. This is why I'm against the phony science of psychology. They can't be real. They have to have their stupid unrealistic theories that everybody is too scared to call them out on and say it's fake BS. My mental illness theory of monogamy. There is no doubt that human connections, human touch, and human contact makes us feel good and is good for our health. A man was born to pass his seed on by biology. Endocrinologists have recently discovered that testosterone is not only the sex hormone for men, but it's the sex hormone for women too. Men have 10 times more than women. A man is geared to have sex all the time to help impregnate women and perpetuate the species. A woman has enough horniness to get pregnant then have kids. My observation as to how monogamy causes mental illness starts with my life as a young man. I had been watching love stories and TV all my life. Every day there are monogamous dramas and stories on TV. Before I discovered my true identity, I was culturally indoctrinated like everyone else. I thought that I had to be in a monogamous relationship in order to be truly happy, and if I wasn't, I felt like there was something missing. I felt lonely. Looking back on it now, I realize that we can be brainwashed to feel lonely because we're constantly bombarded by the message that society sends to us that you cannot be truly happy and fulfilled unless you are in a monogamous relationship. At about the age of 28, I discovered 2 things about my life. 1. I'm a sexual hedonist. I could not live having sex with one woman for life. My sexual thoughts are always fantasies of sex with different beautiful, young, naked women. It's nature. I cannot help who I was born to be biologically. 2. At about the same time, I realized that I had been indoctrinated to buy into the capitalist pop culture view of happiness and success all my life, but my inner voice was telling me that my true nature was in doing what I like to do. That's how I live, following my true nature. I can't feel lonely because I feel my life is full and I do what I want. I decided there is no such thing as a soulmate for me because I'm too untamed, too intense, too self-centered, too hedonistic, and too bohemian. I remember being indoctrinated to feel lonely if I wasn't in a monogamous relationship as a young man. Then after I became free or enlightened, I couldn't feel lonely anymore. But the big tragedy is that there are several billion people indoctrinated to think that they cannot be truly happy unless they're in a monogamous relationship. Out of all the single people in the world, the vast majority of them feel like there is something missing from their lives. They have periods of loneliness where they excessively dwell on the fact that they are single without a mate to share their lives with. This is reinforced every single day when you see loads of love stories and shows about couples on TV, hear love songs on the radio, see couples walking down the street with their baby strollers, etc. Most single women, regardless of age, except for the ugly, fat ones who know they can't attract a man, feel lonely a lot. That's why so many are on depression drugs. Most single and divorced men I have ever been friends with talked about their desires to find a mate. Many don't even consider any other option. Like I told one guy who was charged with domestic violence, what's the big deal? You don't have to be in a relationship for a while if it's giving you a big headache. It was like it never occurred to him that he didn't need to be in a relationship to live a good life. The only single men other than hedonists like me who don't want to be in monogamous relationships are the alcoholics and the regular drug users. I'd say at least 15 to 20% of all men are hooked on intoxicants, which kills their sex drive and subsequently their desire for romance. The moral to the story is live by your own standard, where you find happiness through what you do regardless of whether you are in a lovey-dovey relationship or not. Don't dwell on the fact that you are alone then feel lonely because of it. Release most of your natural energy every day as your first allegiance in life to earn your self-respect, feelings of euphoria and sense of well-being. When you live like this, you can't help but feel good almost all the time. Do some people have a fixation on their mothers that dooms love? When I was about 19, I was in a literature class with only 2 students. We read Sons and Lovers by D.H. Lawrence. The teacher kept saying the main character, Paul Morrell, was so fixated on his mother, that he would never find a woman to love. This was written around the time of early psychology, with the subconscious mind thing going on during the 1910s. There were 2 girls. Clara Dawes represented passion. Miriam was the good girl. Paul couldn't fall in love with either of them because he was fixated on his mother. We used to call some guys mama's boys. There is a point at about 18 where a mother should distance herself from her sons to let them go out into the world and explore life on their own. I remember stories from my life about guys being fixated on their mothers such that they would never find a girl as perfect as their mother's love. This is all from the era of psychoanalysis, when psychobablists thought that your childhood ruled the rest of your life. Before mental health drugs, psychiatrists made their money by talking to patients in endless therapy sessions. The thing they talked about was the patient's past childhood. The idea was that something broke during childhood, now they had to find it to free the patient. I think it's bullshit. Get over it. Live your life. Have the guts to get into a relationship. If you don't, it probably doesn't have anything to do with your mother. It's about your fear of intimacy, which is more common than we admit to. How many 30-ish guys are around who play video games in their mother's basement? I saw a Japanese documentary where they did an intervention on 2 brothers who lived in a room playing video games for 2 years. The Neurotic Search for Love. Citizen Kane has been rated as the greatest movie of all time. This is because it exposes how destructive existential loneliness can be. The guy became a tycoon out in the world trying to replicate the mother's love he had for a short while as a kid before it was abruptly taken from him. His life was reduced to looking to find that kind of love again. That's what the sled represented. Everything he did was a desire to find that mother's love again. He mistakenly thought success and power out in the world would give him love, fame and a good, fulfilled feeling, but it didn't. His life was a tragedy because everything he did was an attempt to go back to that warm, safe feeling he had briefly in childhood, which, of course, he never could, because life doesn't work that way. It keeps moving. As much as people try, you can't freeze a perfect moment and relieve it. People make extensive wedding albums and wedding videos trying to preserve a moment in time. Half of them will be rendered void by divorce. Citizen Kane should have gotten over his craving for perfect motherly love and focused on living a great life day by day through what he did in releasing his natural energy, instead of spending his life seeking the comfort of the womb, so to speak, by trying to be a popular, famous man getting admiration from the masses. You can choose to live right now in the moment and keep running with your life no matter what, or you can feel deficient and alone because you don't have the love you crave in life, then spend your life neurotically looking for love and approval from others. We create gods to try to fill our loneliness. We drink alcohol and do drugs, sometimes alone, sometimes with others, because we want to ease our feelings of not having anyone who will ever know us or fully understand us, even if they love us or say they do. Some people eat a lot of food to try to fill the void they feel inside. Some people buy a lot of useless stuff they don't need. Some people talk endlessly on internet chat rooms with strangers, read romance novels or watch TV, achieving a kind of pseudo-intimacy with the celebrities and fictional characters out there. If you seek fulfillment through looking for love the way you dream about it, people will often disappoint you because they have their own agendas and you will still spend most of your time alone in your own head. Relationships can only fill you up so far, then you're alone to find fulfillment within yourself. A lot of people don't know this, partially because almost everything, all the way from fairy tales to love movies, tell us that love and marriage will solve our problems and make us happy, but they don't, simply because you still spend most of your time alone. Granted, a certain percentage of happiness and fulfillment is made up of love and intimacy, but a much bigger percentage depends on who you are and what you do. There's no in crowd anywhere, despite the airs people put on and the desperation some of them have to fit in with the alleged cool people. We're all a bunch of loners walking around, trying to fit into some collective image of what it means to be cool and successful so that we can attract cool, successful people to us and be part of the illusory, local happening crowd for a while. You have to be polite, or at least don't interfere with other people by law, but the rest of your life is just you with your solitary thoughts, seeing it and analyzing from it your own point of view that no one else will never know, and most people don't particularly care to know because they're too busy with living life from their own point of view. I can't get neurotic like all the lonely hearts around me, worried that they'll never get the perfect feeling of love they desperately crave, then get depressed and live miserable lives, which makes them even more unattractive to possibly meeting potential new friends and lovers. The pursuit of love and affection are inherent to us, but many people take it too far. They think that if they find a decent mate, they'll be happy forever, but the truth is that your relationships are only as good as you are today. If you start going downhill as an individual or get angry and mean because of frustration at work, your relationships are sunk. Don't be so neurotic that you destroy your life looking for some dreamy love connection you got brainwashed by in some movie to soften your sense of existential loneliness. The movies are very far away from real life as lived day by day. The movies are fictional, idealized stories, even the true ones. They call it dramatic license. Love and affection are great if you can find people and pets who love you for you, but even then, you're only engaged with them for an hour or two a day at the most in mutual intimacy. The really enlightened people eventually figure out that life is finite. You got so many days to run powerfully and aesthetically with your free spirit. That's the meaning of life. Run with it strong and free while you got it. Live it with all your beauty, guts, inspiration, fun, and transcendence. If you don't, you're a sucker one way or another. You're either too weak, lazy, and scared to honor your free spirit, or you're buying into an artificial agenda that's not who you are in your true nature. Running with your life should never end, not when you get a job, get married, retire, make $1 million, break your leg, get depressed, get paralyzed, get cancer, get old, your loved ones die, etc. Chapter 2. Romantic love as an illness. Love as a sickness/love as a mental illness. Love is blind. Love causes stress at both extremes, being intensely in love and not being loved by someone you love. People can die from a broken heart. It affects their bodies so much, they break down. The Coolidge effect is that when a male has sex with a woman, he's finished with her for a while. He gets aroused in the presence of other women. Freud thought love was a sickness. There is a poem called Love is a Sickness by Samuel Daniel, 1562-1619. Romeo and Juliet committed suicide rather than be without each other. I has a cousin who killed himself over a jilted love. He was young. He did not yet realize anybody can be attracted to hundreds of people. Youth is a time of impatience and intensity. In the grand scheme of things, most people can develop a liking for each other if they spend enough time together. You can fall in love with almost anybody. There is no one great soulmate and that's it. That's what gets people in trouble, guys, for stalking, kidnapping, suicide, etc. Love sickness/erotic melancholy. Love sickness is the act and process of putting a large part of your identity and happiness on a love relationship with another person. If you put too much of yourself into a relationship, what do you do when there is turbulence in it? Some people go to pieces, some people commit suicide. Love sickness is an obsession with love to the point of mental illness. You take love and the desire for it too far. When somebody falls in love, they literally fall. They're not rational or sensible anymore. That's why we say love is blind. How many men fall in love then lose entire fortunes after the passion wears off and they divorce? I found 3 definitions of love sickness. 1. Love sickness is basically the sadness, anger, and depression some people feel as the result of either being rejected when asking someone out or unrequited love, which is when you love someone but they don't feel romantically interested in you. This is not the same as breaking up. 2. Another definition is closer to love struck. When you first fall in love, you live in a lovey-dovey haze, a dream-like state. 3. Some people yearn for love. They desperately want to be in a monogamous relationship. Some people say love is a mental illness. The biggest rule of love is never move too fast. Wait at least a year after meeting someone before you marry them. Don't have the whirlwind courtship and marry, because if you do, I bet it will end in divorce within 20 years. I knew one guy who married a girl within a month of meeting her. The marriage lasted 15 years but they still divorced. She was aloof. He was passionate. They should have been together long enough to see it and not marry, but they married then realized they were different people. He wanted sex and romance. She didn't. I know one guy who committed suicide because he lost the girl he loved to another man. That's love sickness. I think I'm too old to get lovesick. After you've been in several relationships, or at least I realized that soulmates are interchangeable. I have at least 100 potential soulmates out there. It's not like when I was 23 and it was all about one girl and that was it for me. There's a book out there about a woman's sex addiction called Love Sick by Sue Silverman. Love is a Sickness by Samuel Daniel, 1562-1619. Love is a sickness full of woes. All remedies refusing. A plant that with most cutting grows. Most barren with best using. Why so? More we enjoy it, more it dies. If not enjoyed, it sighing cries. Hey ho! Love is a torment of the mind. A tempest everlasting. And Jove hath made it of a kind. Not well, nor full nor fasting. Why so? More we enjoy it, more it dies. If not enjoyed, it sighing cries. Hey ho! daypoems.net/poems/113.html Lovesick website /love as a mental illness websites. There is a book called Love Sick, Love as a Mental Illness, 9781560256472, by Frank Tallis. It's classified as an obsessive disorder. franktallis.com/lovesick.htm en.wikipedia.org/wiki/love_sickness animenewsnetwork.com/review/your-love-sickness answers.com/topic/lovesickness arta-and-popularculture.com/love_sickness articlespehere.com/article/why I think lovesickness is aerial disease/133560 bbc.co.uk/worldservice/learning English/news English/Britain/love_sickness_comments.shtml brainwaves.cora/NTE.com/archive/2007/is_lovesickness_is_psychiatric_disorder.php Is lovesickness a psychiatric disorder? dailymail.co.uk/health/article-3369111/r-suffering-love-sickness.html Are you suffering from love sickness? educatiourself.org/cn/pharmascure-lovesickness14og05.shtml Anxiety drugs for love sickness. ehow.com, love sick symptoms. ezinarticles.com, Love Sickness, Its Causes and Its Remedies. Gamesarefer-360-love-as-a-mental-illness.html, Love as a Mental Illness. iloveyo-relationship_advice/love_sickness.htm. junemanga.com/book/685, Your Love Sickness. Lovesick.4d4films.com, A Story of Breakup. Lovesick.ru. Lovesickfools.com, Lovesickfools offers articles on dating, love and romance. marieclaire.com/sex-love/relationship-issues/love-sick. mdbell.com/dofus/2005/1/12/Kierkegaard's Lovesickness Unto Death or Kierkegaard Return S4Love.html, Kierkegaard's Lovesickness Unto Death. NewYorkTimes.com, Watching New Love as It Sears the Brain, New Love Can Look for All the World Like Mental Illness, a blend of mania, dementia, and obsession that cuts people off from friends and family. potw.org/archive/potw13.html, Love is a Sickness. randomdreamer.wordpress.com, Is Love a Mental Illness? reference.com/browse/wiki/love_sickness. romanceclass.com. ryusheng.com/category/manga/your-love-sickness. sickness-love.jugem.jp, Sickness of Love. socyberty.com/relationship/coping-with-love-sickness, Coping with Love Sickness. thinkexist.com, Romantic love is mental illness but it's a pleasurable one. tomidate.com/blog/?p=3286 Love Sick, Are You Suffering from Love Sickness? wordpress.com/tag/lovesickness